What up, everybody? Just want to do a quick little video today talking about the importance of avoiding explosive anger. Now, really what explosive anger is when you just find yourself keeping things in, and then bit by bit, your threshold starts to go higher and higher and higher, and then you reach a certain point where you just explode, and you just get super angry, and you lash out at people, and you might overreact. Now, in the short term, a lot of times, we feel justified in that anger. We feel justified in spazzing out or saying whatever it is that we said or doing whatever we actually did while we were angry because we feel justified, and rightfully so. Typically when we get angry, it's because somebody has violated a value of ours. But the issue is that we must learn healthy ways of expressing our anger. We have to learn healthy ways of communicating when we're feeling frustrated, violated, or disappointed. And so how actual anger becomes explosive is because we keep things in. We have to learn to, as soon as something happens, learn to communicate it. And that doesn't mean that we have to learn to communicate it right in that moment when we're super feeling a certain type of way. But the good thing, a person with a healthy ego or a healthy emotional management knows when to address a situation. Not too early and also not too late, but at the right time. So just because we're feeling something doesn't necessarily mean that we have to express our anger in that particular moment. But it does have to get expressed. We don't want to get to the point where we're resisting or resenting someone for simply things that we haven't communicated to them. Most of the time when it comes to explosive anger, it's things that we are assuming that the other person should know. So we're keeping silent about things that they're doing. Maybe it could be a person that you're in a relationship with, and I don't know, every time your mate gets home, they just want to unload on you and just start talking about their day. And you like, damn, can I just get a moment of silence? But you never say anything. You just keep it in your head. And then you start to resent this person because they keep doing things in which piss you off, but you're not saying anything about it. You're just being quiet. Now, your body language might show that you're off-putting, or that you're, not vibing with the situation, or that you're being that you might be bothered by what's going on. But we can't expect people to just be able to read us and know what's going on. We have to find healthy ways to articulate what's going on, and doing it in a healthy tone and with a healthy facial expression as well. Because sometimes when we're coming at people about things that frustrate us, our facial expression can look bothered. The funny thing about communication is that only words make up 7% of the communication. Your tone of voice make up around 38% of the communication, and your body language, your facial expression, and things of that nature, your posture, your breathing, makes up around 55% of the communication. So a lot of times it ain't necessarily what we say, it's about how we go about saying it, watching your tone, and then also watching your body language when you're doing it. But going back to the point of avoiding explosive behavior is because that explosive behavior comes when we just keep silent about something, and it comes to a point in time like a teapot where the steam just can't boil anymore, or steam can't fit in the pot no more, and it has to shoot out. And that's what our explosive behavior basically is. So we have to learn ways of releasing the stress, of releasing the tension before we actually blow up. Because the thing about explosive anger is once you get triggered into that explosive anger, you lose consciousness. That's why crimes of passion or whatever can sometimes be a legal defense, because a person isn't in their right frame of mind when they get into that rage state or that explosive anger. You're not thinking rationally, and you might do things, you will do things that you regret, and you will say things that you regret. And the thing is that once you've done something in anger, you can apologize, but you can't take back the words. You can't take back the deed. That might never leave a person's mind, and that can ruin relationships. That can ruin opportunities. That can ruin your job. You can get fired, ruin friendships, a whole bunch of different things, simply from not having the communication skills to articulate what a person did to actually cause you pain at the time in which they did it. And again, it doesn't have to be right at that very second, but not letting too much time go by without actually communicating. And then just assuming that people can just mind read and just know what's going on in your mind, and knowing how, you're feeling and what ticks you off and everything like that. That's really why a lot of relationships end, because we're just expecting everybody to know what, how we should be dealt with, how we should be treated, where all of our boundaries and lines are drawn and all that. And we just assume and make these assumptions that they should just know. And most of the times they don't. Most of the times when a person offends us or whatever, 9 times out of 10, they're really not thinking about us. We're just collateral damage, so we shouldn't take things personally, and we should definitely learn to communicate things in a healthy way when we're feeling betrayed or bothered or done wrong or any type of negative emotion. We have to learn to communicate that in a healthy way, as opposed to letting things just build, and then before you know it, we find ourselves in a situation where we're just exploding and just super angry at people. And again, that can just ruin relationships, that can ruin a lot of different opportunities, and that can just mess up yourself internally, because anger doesn't make any person feel good. Anger typically makes you feel shame and guilt after you've done it. Even if you've had justified reasons of getting angry, if you've allowed yourself to act in that feeling of anger, you typically would do things that make you feel shameful and regret. And most of the time, you don't even want to allow yourself to get there, especially that explosive anger. Now, again, anger is you're a human, so anger is a natural emotion. All humans get it. But it's to the degree in which we get it, the frequency that we get it, and then also the duration that it stays. So you want to make sure that you're putting yourself in position to the point where you're not frequently angry. Also, that you're not, when you are triggered to anger, that you can control the intensity of it. And then also, once you're triggered to anger, that you can control the duration of it. And what you want to avoid is that explosive anger, because that is typically the deadliest. Now, granted, explosive anger, hopefully it doesn't come super frequently, but the damage about the explosive anger is that the intensity of it can be devastating, and the duration of it, even though it doesn't happen often, when it does happen, that explosive anger, the effects of that can last for so long. So we always want to be top of mind of the damage that can happen as a result of us just acting out our anger and just explosive. Now, again, just to recap, the explosive anger comes typically when we are not able to communicate what people have done to us over extended periods of time. The explosive anger doesn't just come out of nowhere and then, for no reason. It comes bit by bit over time. It's like a glass of water that gets full under a sink or under a faucet that's slightly turned up, so it's just dripping water that's coming. Now, when you're looking at that cup, it's going to look empty for a long period of time. You can walk away, come from it, and it still only might have just a little bit in it, if it's only a drop going in there at a time. But there will come a point in time, if that faucet stays cracked like that and it still's dripping in there, that it overflows. And it's that overflowing of anger, metaphorically speaking, that does the most damage. So I want to encourage you today, because again, the Bible says, he who can control his own spirit is mightier than he who can capture a city. So controlling your own spirit is not allowing yourself to boil over into that explosive anger. You want to, when things happen to you, learn to express them in healthy ways. You don't even have to express it to the person directly. You can write a letter and burn the letter. You just have to get the energy outside of you so it doesn't boil over and just keep stacking and stacking and stacking and stacking and stacking. And then another thing about explosive anger is that when we don't communicate what's really going on, when we keep things inside, and another person does something else and somebody else does something else, and then that person does another thing, it causes us, our internal feelings, to mutate and transmigrate together. So what originally started out at this person doing one thing to offend you, now when you're exploding on this person, you're bringing up 10 to 15 different things that this person did, and you can't even in your mind keep it all straight just because it's all pulling from your imagination. And that's the dangerous thing about keeping things inside of you that makes you feel a certain type of way. Because things start to mutate together, and before you know it, you might be yelling at a person for something that you've seen on TV that's mixed with something that happened way back in the day, that's mixed with something that you read about, that mixed with something that you've seen on social media, and it all tied into your feelings. So when it just boils out, all this stuff comes out and you borderline seem crazy. That's how it can happen. Now, just being honest, how many of us have been in a situation mad as hell, start spazzing out, and then said something that was just stupid, or said something that was irrelevant, said something to a person that they really ain't had nothing to do with them, that they didn't do, that didn't make sense at all, but we were just angry and we just said it, and afterwards we were like, God damn, that fully all didn't make sense. We can make an ass of ourselves when we get angry, when we allow ourselves to just keep things in, make up all these meanings and all these associations, and we trying to determine people's intentions and, their character and all that, keeping it all internally and never saying nothing. Then by the time it comes out, it's all mixed up. It's like when you just pour paint. Like I seen a Chris Brown video, he was on this white canvas and then he just started putting all this paint on his hands and feet and just started moving around, and it just started all mixing. That's kind of what we do when we just keep things inside of us. The things that legitimately have made us mad, we lose focus of it all. And we lose really focus of what's really important. So we have to damn near keep a log of it. We want to maintain focus of what really matters in the moment. And we have to recognize that, all right, just because I'm feeling some type of way, I could be triggered. It might not even have anything to do with this person in front of me. So let me communicate with this person in front of me what's going on, because I know that they can sense it within me, and I'm not about to just keep it inside of me, feel some type of way, and then next time they do something, spaz out on them, or keep it inside of me again, feel another type of way, and then it ends up blowing up randomly, because again, them blow-ups can do way more damage. And then a lot of times, sometimes repair, depending on the relationship, it can be irreparable. So I just want to give y'all a couple little gems when it comes to game, when it comes to controlling your explosive anger and making sure that it doesn't get to that point. So what you want to make sure you're doing is communicating your frustrations and annoyances bit by bit as they are accumulating. Don't let them just stack up inside of you without saying anything, and then one day you just spaz out on people. You can find healthy ways of expressing your anger. You can journal. You can do a video chat where you just turn your camera on and just start recording and talking to yourself about how you're feeling and just getting it all out. Again, you can write letters and burn the letters. You can just journal to yourself about how you feel, or how you things that you've been through, or what is bothering you. You can get a therapist, have somebody to talk to. Anything that just allows you to release and get that out of you and not just keep it inside of you. Because again, if you keep it inside of you, you will explode. And when you explode, you will most likely not even talk about the things that's important. You'll start bringing up all these other things that you then conflated inside your mind. So we got to get it out the imagination. Get it out of your head. If you stay in your head, you're dead. Get it out of your head. See it clearly. Talk to somebody outside of the situation. See where your emotions might be, exaggerating the issues, and where you might have, some valid points and all that stuff like that. Get the objectivity out of it, which you can't do that if it just stays in your head. And then from there, find a healthy course of action to either communicate it or to release it out of you, so you don't find yourself exploding on people and then ruining relationships and then ruining opportunities. Y'all have a blessed day, man. If any man out here is seeking a coach when it comes to learning how to control your anger, hit the link in my bio, schedule a strategy call, man, and let's get some coaching going, man. I would love to be of service. Y'all have a blessed day. Peace.